the crisis of Ukraine is deepening, and world leaders in the West are yelling at Munich, and for me, discussing peace in Munich is not such a good omen. If you remember what Prime Minister Chamberlain did with Adolf Hitler, but that's just history, and maybe I'm making wrong associations. But anyway, I do hope that people in Ukraine would be able to, keep enjoying the peace and prosperity that they deserve, and they are, doing very well. And I do hope that world leaders would not be, stupid and incompetent enough to, allow war happen in this century. It's unthinkable. Having said that, I watched the cold open of Saturday Night Live with great interest, and I think it's the job of comedians to make laughter even in difficult situations like this. And I actually remember the great work of Charles Chaplin, the Great Dictator. When I was a child, I watched the Great Dictator, and it was obvious. It was making fun of Adolf Hitler, but at the time, I didn't realize that the timing of the film was really, really courageous and creative on the part of the great comedian. I didn't realize that the film Great Dictator was made in the period when Nazis was rising very rapidly in Germany, with Adolf Hitler, as a leader. And actually, Chaplin made the film when it was not obvious if Germany would be defeated in the Second World War. It was in the period where it all seems that the dictator and the German nation was doing very well. It was possible that Germany might win the Second World War. So in if you notice that, and if you take a note of that fact, you really are amazed by the courage of Charlie Chaplin, and the way Charlie Chaplin imitated and kind of mocked the orations, the speech by Hitler is really amazing. I mean, after the film was made, it is said that the number of times that Hitler made public appearances and made a speech was noticeably reduced. I mean, because he was aware of the parody, and he didn't really want to be seen as a comic figure in the film. So in that sense, the great film by Charlie Chaplin had a really preventive effect on the unlimited release of the dictator's force. So the great film, The Great Dictator, actually curbed the enthusiasm of the real dictator. And I regard it as one of the most significant comic acts ever done in the history of film and entertainment and so on. So here's to Charlie Chaplin, and I do hope that the spirit of comedy would thrive at this really difficult occasion. And the Saturday Night Live team did a really wonderful job, and here's to the SNL team. And I hope, this wonderful machinery that we have, comedy, would be able to bring the humanity back to reason. Because after all, comedy is about metacognition, the ability to see your situation from the outside. And then you would realize your defects and shortcomings and vulnerabilities, and you would be released from a really authoritarian, rigid, in the box way of thinking, and would be able to think flexibly and more humanly and out of the box way. So I do hope that great comedy would somehow, save us from the conundrum that we are in. So that's all I wanted to say this morning, and I do hope that peace will prevail in Ukraine, with probably a great spirit of laughter, in the helpline. So I do hope peace will prevail.